Hello everyone and welcome back to CasaCloud. Do you have any application that is running right now in Kubernetes? Do you want to expose that outside to internet? Do you want that application to be secured? Do you want that application to be attached to any of the DNS, like for example CasaCloud.com? And in the development cycle, each application not only have the production version, but it also have the dev, SIT and UAT version as well. So in today's video, we'll be seeing how to expose your application outside the cluster using the Kubernetes Ingress, and then how to secure that particular exposed API using the certificate. And also we'll be seeing how to attach that exposed API to a DNS, so that you should not call a IP address, but you should call a DNS, just like CasaCloud.com. And each application these days have the lower environments as well, like dev, SIT and UAT. So also we need to expose those environments as well. We'll be seeing all these things in today's video. So up till now, what we have done in this particular playlist is we have created a Node.js microservice. We have created a Docker image out of that Node.js microservice. We created a Azure Container Registry, and the image that we have created, we have pushed that image to Azure Container Registry. We have automated the complete process of creating the Azure Container Registry and attaching it to the AKS. And then we moved to Helm charts. We have seen what is Helm chart, and we have pushed the image that was created and pushed to the ACR. We have deployed that into the AKS as well using the Helm chart. And then we have automated that process as well. And today we are going to expose the Node.js application that is already deployed in AKS to the external DNS. So this is the external DNS that we have, that is CasaCloud.com. Right now there is no link right now, but we'll be attaching this once we proceed in this video. So let's go back and let's see the setup architecture. What we briefly gonna do is from the browser. So this is a flow. What happens when a user hits the DNS? From your browser, it will go to the Azure load balancer, or a shorter, it's a public IP of the load balancer. Eventually it will point to Nginx Ingress controller. So this is something that we'll be installing in today's video on top of the AKS, and we will be having the ingress rules for each and every host, like dev.casacloud.com, sit.casacloud.com, uat.casacloud.com, and for production it will be just casacloud.com. So all these rules will be setting up in the ingress rule. We already have the Kubernetes service and Node.js application installed. Let's verify that. Let's go to portal.azure.com. And here, if we go directly to the resource groups, we have the resource group 4 already present, where we have the AKS installed. Okay, inside the AKS, if we go in the Kubernetes resources, right now if you see services and ingress, we'll only see one service, that is Node.js template service, which is a default service of type cluster IP. Cluster IP service means this can only be accessible inside the Kubernetes cluster. It cannot be accessed outside the cluster. Okay, so this is our task now, to access this service from the DNS. Okay, so we have all these things ready in the workload. If we see, we have the pod, that is Node.js template. So this is the pod that we need to expose eventually. Okay, so we have these two layers already present. We have the Node.js application pod ready. We have the service ready. And what we need to create is, we need to create the ingress rules, ingress controller, and create the public IP. And also we'll be attaching the Let's Encrypt. That Let's Encrypt will provide us the dynamic certificate. Okay, so let's understand where is this particular repository right now. It is present in CasaCloud. If we go, so it is github.com/CasaCloud, and we are in the Azure repository, and inside the Azure repository we are in 04 Nginx controller, and inside that we are into single host multiple environment TLS ingress, and in that we are in the first 01 CasaCloud, and we are referring CasaCloud with tls.md file. Okay, these things we need to follow. So let's go and start our first step, that is to apply the Nginx Ingress controller. Let's copy this and go to our favorite IDE and first do the AZ login. We have the right access, the first subscription. Okay, now let's paste. This is, we are applying everything that is present in the repository Nginx Ingress. Let's apply this. So it will create bunch of Kubernetes resources like service account, roles, cluster role bindings, and then few services which are required. There'll be few jobs as well. So these are all the things that are created while we are installing the Nginx Ingress. Let's go back. Okay, so this is installed. Let's verify what has been installed. We go back here, Kubernetes get svc -n ingress Nginx. So what we'll see, the important thing is, what is the load balancer IP? So Nginx Ingress will always create a load balancer, and we need to grab this particular external IP and we need to move to our domain controller. In my case, it is godaddy.com, and this is my CasaCloud.com DNS settings. What I need to do is, I need to first add the record. Always choose record of type A, and for the production one, I'll always use @ and I'll be providing the value which is the external IP, which is the load balancer IP exposed by Nginx controller. So this IP I'll be pasting here and I'll do save. Okay, right now we are just doing the configuration because we know what is the external IP, and once these configurations are done, then we'll be proceeding further. We need to add more for our lower environments as well. Let's say dev, and we'll be pasting the same IP. We'll always have the same IP address, only one exposed load balancer. This saves our cost as well and makes things optimized as well. Okay, second is SIT. Let's paste, and the last one is my UAT environment and paste my IP address. Okay, so this part is completed. Now if we go back, so we have completed the part where we need to update the DNS. So this is what we have done. We grabbed the external IP and we updated the DNS for all production, dev, SIT and UAT. Okay, next is we need to install the Cert-Manager. Okay, this Cert-Manager will help us create and update the certificates from various certificate managers like Let's Encrypt. In our case, we are using Let's Encrypt, but there are many other certificate managers as well. But the main thing is we should have the certificate manager installed. Okay, let's go and install that certificate manager. Okay, everything will be installed in the Cert-Manager namespace, and it will create multiple resources. As you see here, there are the cluster issuer and the few of the certificates, few of the secrets, and there is many more things that you can see it is creating, which is required for do the automatic creation of the certificate and also the renewal of the certificate. Okay, now I see the certificate manager is installed. How to verify that? Let's go to the pods, kubectl get pods -- namespace Cert-Manager. Why? Because at the start it has created this particular namespace and everything later is installed in that particular namespace. Okay, let's go and see the pods. Okay, I see all the pods are in running state. You need to make sure that the pods are specifically in running state. If not, then we should not go for the next steps. Okay, as we see the pods are in running state, then what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a cluster issuer. Okay, And this cluster issuer is specifically for Let's Encrypt. What is a cluster issuer? Cluster issuer helps us generate a certificate, and we have to provide the server of a particular server which will help us create the certificate. So this is kind of a blueprint that we are asking that give me a certificate with the name Let's Encrypt CasaCloud, or my cluster issuer name is Let's Encrypt CasaCloud. Okay, I already have this file with 04 cluster issuer CasaCloud.yaml present inside my repository. If you see it here, if I just do ls cd04 cd04 cd01 ls, if you see, I already have it here, 04 cluster issuer CasaCloud.yaml. Okay, what I need to do is I just need to execute this cluster issuer CasaCloud.yaml. Let's wait for it to create. Okay, it has created the cluster issuer, and now let's see if the cluster issuer is already present or not. Okay, so yes, my cluster issuer is already present and the state is ready. When you say ready, that means it is ready to request any of the certificates. Okay, so once that is done, now the crucial time where we need to create the ingress rules. Okay, so for creating the ingress rule, we are creating another Kubernetes resource called as Ingress, and here we are giving in the annotations we are saying what is the certificate manager cluster issuer. This is Let's Encrypt CasaCloud, which we have just created above. Let's Encrypt CasaCloud. That's how these two things relate. And here I'm saying that your SSL redirect should be true. That means even if someone tries the http.casacloud.com or http.dev.casacloud.com, it will be forcibly redirected from HTTP to HTTPS. So this rule states that. Okay, and now we need to provide the TLS details. That is, you need to create a certificates U. That means when this ingress component is installed, it has to create certificates for these hosts. Okay, so why are these hosts? Because I'm specifying all these 4 hosts beneath, and every host I want secured, I want certificate for those hosts. Okay, so that's why I'm in the TLS block, I'm stating all the hosts that are required, and then the secret name is CasaCloud TLS for my certificate name. Okay, and my rule starts from my production rule, which says HTTP, my path is / that means anything that goes to casacloud.com /. So on that /, what I want to do, whenever the request comes on /, I want to forward that request to a service named as Node.js template, and we have already seen that this particular service is already present in AKS. Service name is Node.js template, right? So this is the particular service where we need to go. Here we have the Node.js template on port number 80. Why port number 80? Because my service is exposing the pod, though the pod is exposed on 9001 port number, but the service port number is port number 80. Hence I want to push all the traffic that is coming from DNS to the public load balancer to the ingress and now to the service on port number 80. Okay, so the request will route from port 443, then port 80, and then port 9001, which is the pod port. Okay, the same request that I have given for this production detail, I have just pasted for all the remaining 3 environment because I didn't want it to complicate this part much. We need to keep it simple. So in all the cases, it will go to the same service. In your case, you will definitely have 4 different services. Maybe you have installed one service in one environment, that is dev, one in SIT, UAT and prod, or you have much complex environment where you have multiple applications to expose, you just need to replicate this format and you need to keep adding the services that you want for your application. Okay, so this is the rules for the ingress. What is the next step? We need to execute this. That is, we need to create this ingress. Let's go ahead and create it. ls. We already have this particular YAML file which we have just discussed. I'm just pasting that kubectl apply -f and this. Okay, ingress is already created. How to validate whether the ingress is created? Let's go to kubectl get ingress. If we do this, we get to see that the ingress is created of class ingress and it is extending to all the 4 hosts that we have set to the IP address that is offered. This IP address is the one that we have pasted to the DNS controller that we have here, 130.213.194.171. It is the exact same IP. Okay, and these are my hosts which are exposed. Further to this, we need to validate these certificates. Those are created for this implementation. Let's clear this, get certificate. So this will show you the certificate which is CasaCloud TLS certificate, and the certificate status is true. That means certificate was created successfully and same certificate is being used for all the 4 hosts. Where is this name given? If we go here in the definition, you will see for all the 4 hosts only this CasaCloud TLS certificate has to be created. So it is just doing what we have already shared. Okay, so this is our certificate. What if we want to see more details, what exactly that certificate has? Then we can go to secrets, kubectl get secrets. If we do this, we'll get to see the details of the certificate. This is CasaCloud TLS. This is the secret. Let's explore more about it, what it has, and we'll get to know that this particular secret has the actual certificate and the certificate key present here. Okay, so where you want to find this, it will be present in this particular secret. How will this particular certificate be updated? Okay, because it is Let's Encrypt and we have already installed this certificate manager, it is the certificate manager's work to update or renew the certificate once it expires. So we do not have any downtime. It is a very professional way to install the certificates and secure our domain. Okay, so this is very simple, and now it's time to validate which are the all domains that we have done. We have masacloud.com/API/docs because I have a Node.js application that is exposing the Swagger URL on /API/docs. Hence, if I do only /, I'll be pointing to / where I do not have anything in this Node.js application. But if I do /API-docs, I know there is a Swagger URL present there, and we can see it here. And now this communication that we have, all the communication is encrypted, secured with the certificate which we have just now created. Okay, same is dev.masacloud.com. We should have the secured certificate. If you see, connection is secured, certificate validity, it is common name is masacloud.com, offered by Let's Encrypt, and we can see the expiry as well. Okay, so let's see for sit.masacloud.com. It is also present, and this is all happening dynamically. Before this it was not there. We have the uat.masacloud.com, and here as well we have. So this is very simple approach to first expose your application from the AKS, Azure Kubernetes Services, and also to secure those exposed APIs. So I guess you must have understood how and what are the steps to take care of. In your case, you will definitely have your own domain controller. Should not matter. All the domain controller will have this DNS setup where you need to set up the A type. Always set the A type, and whichever is your domain or your environment, you set up the name. It is not defined that you always need to use dev sit uat. You can use any names here. Make sure whichever is your load balancer IP addresses, you are only putting it here. And a part of this, what you need to change in your system, this step 1 will be common. Step B is just to verify. This will be specific for you. You need to make sure you update your own external IP. Okay, so that is specific to your application. Installing the certificate manager is common step for everyone. You need to follow. This is common. So this is the cluster issuer. In the cluster issuer, you need to make sure what is the name of the cluster issuer. You need to change the email address. Here I've given my email address. You need to make sure you change this email address to your email address. Okay. And then the private key secret ref. This one you should change and update your name here, your DNS name. Okay. And then rest of it, you can keep it as it is. 4B, you just need to apply it. And then we verify the cluster issuer, and then we move to the ingress.yml. Here, what are the things that you will change? You will always change the name of your ingress with your domain name, and then you will change the Let's Encrypt issuer name. Exactly this name should mimic to the name that is offered by the issuer, this particular name. Okay, make sure you do this, and then you will create your specific environments. So if you have only one environment or two environments, you make sure you only add those environments here. As many you add here, you need to add the same in your domain controller. Okay, so secret name, you should give your own DNS here, and you will see a certificate and a secret created in Kubernetes environment with this name. Rules are very specific. Host, definitely yours. Prefix, you can, if you want to append some prefix, you can, but I prefer to keep it / so that now in front of / I know whichever is my microservice paths, those will work. So I keep it simple. And then the services depend which are the services that you have in your cluster. Those service name you will put. Port number, again very specific to what service you are trying to expose. Okay, so these are the only things that you need to be specific for your own particular DNS and to expose the application. The rest of the things are very common. This is just, I've took a live example so that you should understand how it happens end to end, and you should be able to mimic the same for your environment as well. Okay, so I believe you now understand. Please try it yourself. Have a DNS, any DNS you can buy. There are very cheap DNSs also offered by various DNS providers. Take any DNS for your testing. Create your AKS. Okay, there is no specific pre-requirement in this particular AKS. You should just have a AKS. You should have one microservice or a pod running which is exposing something. Maybe an Nginx pod should also work. And then you need to make sure you have a service of type cluster IP. Okay, so that we should be able to point to that particular service. Okay, so this is all I wanted to share to you in today's video. I hope you understood this concept and you will try it yourself. This is a very important concept where we are trying to expose, and not only expose the API but also securing the API. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video up till now. I'll see you in the next video.